Baby, you okay?
Find a peaceful setting, your eyes. Imagine your body and emanating out from your chest. Take a deep breath in and remember the energy you give to the universe always comes back to you.
No, wait.
The coastal town seemed calm, but a chill ran through the air. Years after the last massacre, no one had seen the killer's body. Julie's heart skipped every time she walked near the dock. Tonight, something felt different. A dark raincoat lay draped on the pier. The fabric was soaked, the scent of the sea and mud heavy on it. Her hands trembled as she reached for it. She realized that some horrors never die, they just wait. Julie's phone buzzed with an unknown message. She froze as the words appeared. I still remember. A GPS location was attached. It pointed directly to the dock. Her breath caught and she dropped the phone. Another message blinked. Tonight we begin again. She felt eyes on her from every corner of the dark room. There was no denying it, the killer had returned. Julie called Ray, Carla, and Evan to an emergency meeting. All four sat silently, the storm outside echoing their unease. She placed her phone on the table, showing the terrifying message. Carla gasped. The same text appeared on her phone simultaneously. Ray's jaw tightened. This is not a joke, he said grimly. Evan glanced out the window, convinced they were being watched. It was clear the past horror was returning to claim them. Evan left the cafe, walking down the narrow streets. Every step seemed to echo unnaturally in the night. He sensed someone following him, just out of sight. He turned to see a tall figure under the flickering streetlight. The raincoat glistened in the weak light, ominous and still. Before he could scream, the shadow vanished into the fog. All that remained was a wet hook lying in the street. Julie arrived home to find the front door slightly ajar. She called out, but only the wind answered. Inside, everything was in chaos, as if someone had searched desperately. Family photos lay broken on the floor, shattered frames everywhere. Fresh, muddy footprints led directly toward the bedroom. Her hands shook as she approached the room, heart racing. The door creaked open on its own, revealing darkness inside. She knew, without seeing, that the killer was close. Julie drove to the old lighthouse after receiving another message. The location pin pulsed on her phone like a beating heart. Storm winds pushed her back, but she forced herself forward. Inside, the staircase creaked as if someone had just climbed it. A fresh footprint glistened on the wet metal steps. Her pulse quickened as she heard someone breathing above. She whispered Evan's name, but only the storm replied. Something waited for her in the shadows above. Ray rushed into the woods after seeing a figure run past his house. He clutched a flashlight, its beam trembling with every step. The muddy footprints suddenly stopped as if the person vanished. A branch snapped behind him, but nothing was there. Cold rain stung his face as the darkness grew deeper. He felt like he was being hunted from all directions. A whisper brushed against his ear. You left me to die. Ray sprinted forward, but the voice followed him. Carla found an abandoned cabin while searching for Evan. She hesitated at the open door, the bloody smear chilling her. Inside, the lantern flickered weakly, as if struggling to stay alive. Furniture was shattered, and deep claw marks scraped the walls. Something terrible had happened there just moments ago. Her phone vibrated. Another message. You're next. She stumbled back, heart pounding uncontrollably. A faint shadow moved behind her, too close to escape. Driving home, Ray noticed a figure sprint across the road. He slammed the brakes, but the person vanished instantly. His headlights reflected off a dead END sign ahead. Another message buzzed on his phone. Turn around. Ray hesitated, gripping the steering wheel tightly. In the rearview mirror, a figure sat silently in the back seat. He froze, unable to breathe. The figure whispered, Don't pretend you forgot. Julie followed clues that led her to the Old Town morgue. Her footsteps echoed down the silent corridor. One body lay uncovered, pale and cold. When she lifted the sheet, she gasped. It was Evan's jacket. A toe tag read, "Identified by you." She stumbled back, trembling violently. A door behind her slammed shut by itself. Someone else was inside the morgue with her. Carla ran to the cemetery after receiving coordinates. The fog was so thick she could barely breathe. She found a new grave, soil still wet from the rain. Her name was carved on the wooden marker. A cold wave washed over her as she backed away. The dark figure stepped closer, silent and steady. Carla screamed, but her voice vanished in the mist. The shovel fell over, as if someone had just walked away. Ray broke into the old police station hoping to find clues. He turned on the lights. The investigation board was still there. Someone had updated it recently with new photos. A picture of Julie at the dock was circled in red ink. Ray's hands shook as he examined the files. The killer had been watching them for years. Footsteps echoed down the hall, slow and deliberate. Ray knew he wasn't alone anymore. Julie searched the old school where they once hid years ago. Every corner felt haunted by memories they tried to forget. A faint childlike laugh echoed through the corridor. A locker door creaked open on its own. Inside was a photograph of the four of them, and the killer standing behind them. Julie dropped it, heart pounding wildly. The shadows at the end of the hall shifted unnaturally. Ray followed a message that led him to the cliffs. Lightning cracked across the sky as he approached the edge. A silhouette stood dangerously close, unmoving. Ray shouted, but the wind stole his voice. The figure slowly turned, wearing Evan's coat. But the face wasn't Evan's. It was something twisted. Ray staggered back in horror. The figure lunged toward him. Carla woke up inside a boat, hands tied with coarse rope. The ocean roared violently, rocking the vessel. Her lantern swung, revealing blood smeared on the railing. A scream pierced the air, Ray's voice. Carla clawed at the ropes desperately. A tall figure emerged from the fog, stepping onto the boat. His voice growled, "One by one, you will remember." Carla backed away, trapped with nowhere to run. Julie arrived at the pier, hearing screams echoing across the water. The fog was so thick she could barely see her own hands. She heard footsteps, slow, heavy, purposeful. A figure emerged, holding the same hook from years ago. His raincoat dripped seawater as he dragged the weapon across the dock. Julie wanted to run, but her legs refused to move. He whispered her name like a curse. "This time, none of you escape." Ray broke free from the killer's grip and stumbled onto the dock. He grabbed Carla's lantern and followed fresh footprints. They led toward an old warehouse no one had entered in years. Inside, he heard Julie screaming. Lightning illuminated the fog, revealing the killer dragging her inside. Ray picked up a metal pipe, gripping it tightly. He knew this would end tonight one way or another. He stepped inside the warehouse, ready to face the nightmare. Julie struggled against the ropes cutting into her wrists. The killer circled her like a predator savoring the moment. "You all left me to die that night," he snarled. Julie shook her head in tears. "We tried to help you." He slammed a hook onto the floor, sparks flying. Ray burst in, swinging the metal pipe with all his strength. The killer dodged effortlessly, turning toward him. The final confrontation had begun. Ray and the killer crashed through the window, rolling across the floor. Julie screamed as the hook nearly struck Ray's face. Ray blocked it with the pipe, sparks flying on impact. The killer fought with inhuman strength fueled by rage. Julie managed to free herself and grabbed the lantern. She smashed it against the floor, flames erupting. The warehouse began to burn rapidly. The killer stepped back, momentarily blinded. Julie, Carla, and Ray ran from the collapsing warehouse. Behind them, the fire roared like a living beast. Julie turned back and froze. The killer still stood inside the flames. His silhouette refused to fall, staring directly at them. A burning beam finally crashed down, engulfing him completely. The three collapsed on the dock, trembling and breathless. The nightmare seemed over, but the ocean churned violently. Julie whispered, "He's not gone. Not yet."